that I've followed for a couple of years and I really enjoy watching, except they've got the change up, they've got Ask, they've got resets, they've been going well so far, they look very, very dangerous, but I think they are at this point meeting their toughest opposition yet in TSM, who have also looked clinical over the last couple of games. As you say, Des, this is a potential preview, I think, of, you know, a possible finals matchup. Yep. Whoever goes down into the lower bracket from here, I'm sure is going to be a contender to get themselves back into it. It's going to be huge.
Going to be absolutely massive, Tim. That was what I wanted to say.
We've done that, Des. We've done it.
You know what really set me off in that? It's when you said the Invitational.
The Invitational?
We were working a little bit because he was trying to do a Peaky Blinders-esque accent, and I was like, you really got to put the oi on everything. Because in Birmingham, there's a little area called Dudley, and the real stupid line that I always quote to give people an example of what a Birmingham accent sounds like is, "You're right, Bab, I'm from Dudley." And it's just all about that oi sound at the end. So when you like the Invitational, I was like,
I nailed it.
That's it, mate. You got it nailed down. You've really got this nailed down to a T. I absolutely love it. Bans are rifled on through. Maverick going to get banned away here, Tim. Now, arguably the only, I wouldn't say surprising ban. You do see it taken out sometimes. You've got good nades, got a pretty decent gun. The gadget's excellent coming into things like a Valkyrie against a Kaid, sorry. Speaking of which, Tim, actually thinking about it, Kaid is going to be really strong on here because of the bans that we've seen. No Thatcher, no Maverick. And normally, you will always see a Kai ban paired inside of there. But a bait with the Valkyrie ban coming out, the other side not wanting to leave a mirror up has taken that away as well. This is going to get a little bit spicy.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, the thing is, there's not many hatches that are going to be played around, generally speaking. So that's, you know, that's sort of one play down as to why I think we've not seen the big rush towards a Kaid ban, because you can electrify walls and it's going to make them difficult to clear. Obviously, there's other options. We've got the Twitch being brought along by Nesk, for example. You know, there's other ways of getting those walls cleared off. Your hatches, which can be the difficult ones sometimes. Again, Twitch is quite capable of doing it, but there's just not many that are essential on this for the attackers to be breaching. You know, yes, you want the hatch from maybe master bedroom down into kitchen when you're attacking onto kitchen dining. It's a soft floor around it, so you can work with it. It's not a massive problem.
Absolutely. I speak a lot about just how much I love Twitch at the minute, and despite what we saw out of, I believe it was Elevate, Nesk is playing on the F2, not going over to playing on the DMR, which Onigiri did quite a good bit of work. I heard he might have tied up a record the other day, Tim.
I think he might have done. I think it might have been a record that's also now jointly held by somebody in this lobby, Des.
Imagine if they were both in the same game. Would the server just implode?
I think it might do. 27 kills in one map being that record. Held by Parlu since OGA Pit 2019, and then matched by Onigiri yesterday here at the 6 Invitational.
Absolutely. Right then, we are well into the swing of things now. Liquid getting underway in the round. As it starts out, you've got Bolo playing inside a kitchen, worth noting that he should be holding into his back pocket onto a C4 and daring someone to come stepping above to challenge onto Mert, because that is when a freebie steps in. If he remains undrone inside of here, and I hope they've got an idea that he's inside a kitchen, well, that could be the biggest freebie of their life. Resets, working his way in towards Piano as the point man coming in for the side of Team Liquid. But at this point in the round, Tim, they've kind of got themselves in the building. All 5 members have paused and got on drones here, collecting information for that midpoint of the round now that they're well established inside the building and looking at how to break the next part.
Nesk is just going to lose one of those Twitch drones there to achieve. Still has one in pocket, so can deal with anything electricals particularly that might be in place and dangerous, but needs to be careful with it. Doesn't want to be losing it. Achieved still here on Mezzanine, but Ask, he's going to find Bolo to start things off, and that really does bring the push. The problem that Achieved is going to have very soon is he's going to be cut off, because Team Liquid are pushing through into kitchen, into dining, and as soon as they get underneath him in main lobby, it's going to be difficult potentially for him to get back to site. Liquid are simultaneously pushing themselves toward trench, trying to get in onto that basement level, looking to breach walls, get in, and the plant spot is going to be just inside a wine, I would imagine. Nesk is there, look at that, Des.
There's a
How cheeky. The electrical goes out, beautifully caught by our wonderful observers. The Twitch drone just parks itself under the desk, ready to take it out, and that's going to open up that rear angle that I've spoken about so much for Parlu.
Worth mentioning on the observer front, I believe we have 2 with us today. We have Easy and Medics. Now we're down to just the 1 stream, so it is the EU Dream Team back together once again. Zero complaints on that side from us. And here comes the plant in a 5 versus 4, Tim. Chalet hitting the deck as one of those smoke canisters comes out. No more of those going to be able to be used here. And like you always talk about, Tim. You like seeing these downstairs attacks. They have the cross, they have the angles, and it's down super easy in a 5 versus 4.
Exactly as I explained it the other day there. Palu on one angles cover, Nesk on the other. Ask puts the diffuser down, simple as that, and it's a nice, easy Team Liquid win. Tough start for TSM there. As I say, once you get that rear side opened up, particularly at the bottom of West Main where Palu was holding from, you could see him. He was just flicking from blue to connector just to make sure nobody was coming through that space. You've also got somebody on the trench breach. I think it was Nesk in this case. He's going to stand there and hold on to connector door. There's no way without winning a serious gunfight that you can get round to Ask who's on the wall there. Even if you try and throw a nitro past, Palu or Nesk they're going to clear pigeon shoot it. They're just going to take it out of the sky. So it's not a major problem. And Ask proving that, gets the diffuser down. Nicely done from Team Liquid.
Massive first round for them, yeah. And you mentioned a player there that I want to touch on, right? Ask and Resets. 2 players in this game that we were talking about the other day. They came in and obviously replaced Moringa and Sexy Cake, who were on this team prior. Sorry, Sexy Cake. I'm actually gutted. I didn't even think about it until now. I won't hear you say that name anymore.
Well,
one last time for posture.
I really miss Sexy Cake being here
Thank you.
The Invitational.
That's all I wanted.
You know, just one of those real characters, great player, always a bit of flair in the server. I tweeted about it before we came out here. It might be a little bit early for Sexy Cake to be watching, although I'm sure he'll probably be watching his Team Liquid. But he's, I think, 5 hours behind. But if you are watching, good morning to you, Sexy Cake. It'll be very early for you. But yeah, you know, we're seeing Team Liquid.
Sounds like a really terrible name to call your partners. Good morning, Sexy Cake, doesn't it?
And Moringa as well, of course. You know, they were big parts of this roster for the longest time, but Ask and Resets really seem to have stepped up here so far.
This is it, right? I think yesterday someone said Resets came in and dropped like 15 kills or something ridiculous on a map. Bearing in mind these 2 players are 18 and 19 years old, you're being brought into a team with, you know, if not some of the greatest players in the world. Palu and Nesk always up there at nearly every single competition when it comes to the numbers. And for them to potentially be on their way towards a grand final at SI is no doubt a pretty intimidating prospect, but one they look all too ready for. Big first round, as mentioned, coming out with Ask getting that diffuser stuck down. Pros don't fake, Tim. Pros don't fake.
They don't, and there was no reason for him to fake, is the top and bottom of it, because, like I said, the cover was there, and it is just so solid when you can get those lines of sight. Round number 2 underway, pretty quiet so far from Team Liquid. They're going to be attacking this time onto Bar and Gaming. TSM deciding to move it up a level and take it to the mid floor. Nesk at the minute just droning out, still trying to get control over the top floor here, Team Liquid. They've got a man at mezzanine, they've still got the man at top of blue stairs just outside a library, so work to be done. That's exactly what Ask is going to do. He's going to open up the angles now so that others can come in, potentially Palu, get some nades down there, clear that shield out, and just force the man back off blue stairs.
Yeah, it's a good little hole coming in so far from TSM. Very much default positions, by the way. Library stairs, mezzanine, as you're seeing here, coming out of Merc. 1 downstairs inside a split, and 1 sat in library, ready to challenge the window jump in. That leaves Achieved as kind of the free-roaming man who's currently coming up West Main here and pushing his way around back through dining. He's there more to challenge the long angle if someone comes pushing inside of the lobby, but it doesn't stop Bolo getting the kill first onto Ask.
Bolo able to pick it up this time. He was the opening death last time, so he's just starting to trade that out to make sure he's effective in the entry battles. Nesk is going to hold a nice angle here. He just wants that man to be moved, really, and for the time being, that's not likely to be the case. We've got a little battle of the smoke canisters there with 1 from either side being deployed. Diffuser down at the minute, that's going to need collecting. Achieve punched off his feet by an air jab. Just trying to get onto the flank of Liquid here. Not going to be successful at the minute, and that's 2 easy kills for them. Palu gets 1, and he nearly gets 2 with Gio being downed above, but they're just fighting hard to keep him alive, and they will be able to. Merc goes in and makes a great challenge there onto Palu, who was just low on ammo, and it's all up to Resets and PSK now.
What can he do in this position as well? Resets, I think he must have an impact left. Yes, he does. Can burn through it, assuming there is no ADS. You heard it go off there, but Bolo looks on the downstairs and finds the kill. So no, maybe it didn't go off. It was just a concussion. Bolo with the last 2 kills to come through, and a much better round from TSM with 3 left alive at the end.
Much better. They'll be glad to get that defensive round on the board. The last thing they want is to find themselves 2, 3, 4 rounds behind.
Yep.
To somebody like Team Liquid, you got to get yourself straight in the game. There is no late starts here, Des. With the first game on, these players have got to be up. They've got to be awake. awake. I mean, I'd imagine they might still be. They've been here a couple of weeks now. They may be settled in. Jet lag usually has you waking up a little bit early, so they should be, you know, maybe prepared for it.
I know a couple of teams came in and tried to reset their sleep schedule immediately to about getting up at 7 a.m. So you're up, you've had your breakfast, you've had a shower, for example, you're awake and ready to play by about 8 o'clock. Because for a lot of these teams, when they're here, they'll have that warm-up map about 8 o'clock with a team in Europe. They'll play for an hour or so just to get themselves in the mood, get fragging, for example. Then they've got to do the map bans at 9, be sat down and ready to play, for example. All these things then start building together. So, although it can be really hard, especially as we know what a lot of players can be like, they prefer scrimming in the evening, for example, playing through till gone midnight. Here is where it gets serious, and you have to be really disciplined to reset that sleep schedule, get it down to 7 a.m. and be in the mood, ready for the early games. Something that, being honest, Tim, we saw M&M struggle with, our UK team, who have yet to set foot in Tier 1. They are qualified to EUL for 2022, but the 10 a.m. games, they didn't win a single one. Anything that wasn't 10 a.m., they did win. They just kept on getting cursed by 10 a.m. games. Unlucky, I guess. But you've got to be able to deal with it. He's got to be able to play those times.
Maybe to be put in the training schedule going forward. Practice getting up.
We spoke to Calvin, the owner of M&M, on the post show last night, and he was saying then, like, you know, it's just learning experience. That means we'd rather deal with it now than it may just moving forwards, because we're only going to go from strength to strength from here on out.
Absolutely. Great attitude to have. And indeed. I'm sure M&M put up a great performance. They definitely did, and it'll be good to see them back in future, which I'm sure we will. Palu going to open up that double window with a concussive grenade going in straight after it. It's going to be a kitchen hold this time from TSM, so Liquid trying to put pressure on that top floor. As I said earlier, you want the hatch really into kitchen. You want to be able to use that verticality. They're going to have a lot of work before they can get that Palu just dropping away after opening up the bathroom window. At the minute, it's all about just removing the safety that TSM have got, the castle barricades, any utility that they hide in behind, and then it's going to be about getting boots on the ground and inside of the map.
Absolutely. Pretty much standard in terms of how they're set up as well, to be honest. They're looking towards playing on big window. They've got Ask and Palu repelling up towards, so at least standard for a solar take. And you have Resets looking to play on the balcony. He's being really passive, to be fair, playing off on the repel rather than trying to hide behind a pillar, as we see a lot of teams like to do. Just keeps you in range to be able to challenge onto bathroom. If someone does try and rotate away, you're there and ready for the cut. And so far inside 75 seconds, it's been a lot of information work. Again, you can see a few members playing around on drones here. Utility coming in to try and burn through ADSs, for example. No magnets to worry about here, but they're just trying to chuck their way through and force TSM back. So it's maybe less about trying to find kills here and more about trying to push them back deeper in towards the top floor so they can get control of office, they can look towards the drop, and they can look for an execute. First smoke canister came up there onto the trophy window, by the way, to try and slow Nest down. It's very clear that TSM are aware they're looking towards a topside take.
Oh, with another entry there. This time it's going to be Palu who goes down to him, and it's going to be 1 minute 10 left on the clock when that opener comes in. Not going to be easy for Liquid from here because they're running short on time, and TSM are still entrenched on the top floor. They haven't been able to move them as of yet. They're not able to get in and challenge, and you can see from the silhouettes TSM are more than comfortable to just sit still here, hold those angles, and make life as difficult as possible for Team Liquid. In come the flashbangs, that's what they needed to get them established. Resets goes in, gets one, traded out by Gio. Bolo gets himself a second on the round, and it's 4 versus 2. TSM looking strong now inside of round 3, and it's Team Liquid that might need to wake up here, Des.
That near flawless round around one is a distant memory at this point. Nest comes in and finds one back onto Achieved, but unfortunately for them, there's still 25 seconds to play, and they've got all these members to bring down. They're being shot at from multiple directions. Down he goes. Bolo onto a big 3K in the round, looking to neutralize out round 1 and the dominating show that Liquid had. With 2 rounds back to back now, it's starting to feel like TSM might be waking up into this game, Tim. Another round where they finish with more than half the team remaining.
Speaking about waking up, there's a special viewer that we probably need to mention, Des. Jenny Ye.
Oh, is she around?
Liquid super fan.
Bless her soul.
She's she did say on Twitter she was trying her best to stay up. I'm sure that she's managed it at least this far. She'll be biting her fingernails.
Someone tagged us this morning, just like, can you shout extra loud to keep her awake?
Keep her awake.
Bless her soul. Hi, Jenna. Hope you're enjoying the games. Also worth noting, it's Charla's birthday, by the way.
It is Charla's birthday, so happy birthday to Charla.
If he watches this back, I mean, it's a good time to watch it back. You've just won 2 rounds in a row, so happy birthday on a high note before Liquid come back and start slamming.
Well, happy birthday indeed.
Enjoy the high moment.
It's got you some faith for your birthday.
Not a lot of it. It's not that I don't think TSM can go on to win this. Like, they've absolutely got the capacity. We just know what Liquid are like. They've slammed their way through the whole tournament. They've looked prolific. And the problem is, we've said that about Liquid in so many competitions, and they always fall short when it comes round to the very later stages of the competition. This is around that time we tend to see, we saw it at SI last year, where the cracks start to show a little bit. Yes, they made it to the final last year against NIP. We all know how that ended, unfortunately. Map 5, Liquid just completely running out of steam. That really can't be taken away, because on Sunday, you have to play the lower bracket final, best of 3. Then you have to go and play the grand final, which does not have a map advantage this time around. It's a full 5 maps. You're potentially playing 10 hours of Siege a day on Sunday if you're coming from the lower bracket.
Yep.
Like, endurance and stamina really weighs into it, and Liquid know what that feels like. They do not want to be there again.
No, exactly, that's it. They suffered to it last time around, and it's going to be something that they try to avoid, I'm sure. They're back down to attacking Wine and Snowmobile. Interesting choice from TSM, Des. They are basically completely forgoing the top floor. They're not defending Master and Office by the looks of things. They've done their 3 sites, and they've headed back down to the one that they lost, rather than going up to the top floor. So TSM obviously not keen to try and hold on to that one. Achieved goes for a big run out. It's an absolute freebie. It's the easiest kill you're ever going to get on Nesk, because he can't shoot back. He's in a drone and he manages to take him down. That is a big play from Achieved. Smart there. He must have heard the sound cue of the drone going out.
Feels like a fight that maybe, Tim, I'm only going to say maybe, it's definitely not a definite, that we might maybe win against Nesk. Because in my career otherwise,
honestly, I don't think I could.
Not going to happen.
I still think I'd lose that
fight. You'd paint him but still not hit him?
Still lose that fight against Nesk.
You are the hold down F bot for the team, to be fair, Tim. You get in sight, you get the job done, and that's why we love you. Still, a big starter, and yes, not a full defense coming in on the top floor. Achieved is just wasting time, right? He got himself a freebie there. He can be happy with that. He'll probably want to back away towards site at some point, but his fear most likely is PSK's holding out towards lobby. If he drops down there and tries to get back down to site, he's going to find himself in hot bother. Reset's still prepared that he might come out at some point. No doubt they've got a flank drone sat on him as well, just daring him to step forward, and sure enough, he does come back forward, and Resets finds the kill.
Leveling things up then for Team Liquid. They just need to find a little spark at the minute, the Liquid. The last couple of rounds have been all TSM pretty much, and this could be a good opportunity for them to rinse and repeat what they did previously. They've lost Nesk, which might make it difficult to get the walls open if Gio's got those electroclaws on there, so that's something for them to consider. Merc's going to head himself back into sight, and we'll just hear one of those electroclaws being applied somewhere, actually. So I think it is going to be tricky for Team Liquid to open up the rear side here. They've only got Ask on the hard breach with the Hibana, who takes a bunch of damage. He's going to be able to open the trench wall. The problem is that cover, as I've discussed. Once he gets this open, he can get in and get the diffuser down, but with that rear-sided wall closed at the bottom of West Main, and it's no surprise to see if it's been a choice for Gio of do I electrify trench or do I electrify rear, he's gone for rear because it's those critical angles.
I was very confused as to what that C4's about, but I think it's just a big bait here, potentially, because Bolo's now got him behind Resets. I think he's narrowly just about escaped him here. In fact, they're all the way on the downstairs, so he's got to get down West Main at least, but he's coming down behind them still as they push forward and found a couple. Flank drone surely on the watch here for Nesk. He's watching the wrong man. Bolo with a massive flank, but only finds the one before Reset steps across and gets the shutdown. Big kill coming in here, and they look set to win the round. Shala has got to clutch it out. This will be a big birthday clutch if it comes through now. Can't find the next. One to the left, one to the right. They push him a bit too fast. Liquid bringing things back up to 2-2.
Good effort there from Chalet to try and close it out at the end. It was always going to be tough when you've got one on either side of you like that, bouncing back and forward, just couldn't match him and just couldn't find the shots. It was a good attack from Team Liquid. They just got to a point where they decided, look, we need to push into sight and try and find a few here, and they managed to do it. They got the wall open at the same time, and it sort of started falling apart. It's unfortunate for Bowley. He sort of snatches at it a little bit. It's one of those moments we talk about. I think you come round the corner, and there's 3 of them. Like, which do you go for first? Who do you take down? He got one. On a different day, maybe he gets 2, maybe he gets 3 and wins the round for them. It's just one of those where there's just too much choice sometimes.
Absolutely. Whew. I mean, it's keeping things all even and square, Tim. 2-2 apiece. It's looking like a very competitive game, the one that we knew it would be. The worst thing coming into today would have been to see this just go straight away like, okay, it's 4-0 TSM or it's 4-0 Liquid. We do want a nice balanced affair, and so far that is what we are being given. But we're having quite a bit of fun. I'm running around with this Smoke FMG, by the way. A few teams are. We saw Doki doing it yesterday for the side of Na'Vi. We've seen a couple of players on other teams doing it too. Kind of growing into it. And in case you're looking at it and thinking, why is one of the entry players, or at least the flex players, playing on a smoke? Surely that's a hard sight position, no? Historically, yes. You would always bring along the shotgun and use it to help transform the site. But we first saw Citizen do it, interestingly, Tim, on this map back in EUL Stage 3. And in the interview, we asked him, you know, why were you sitting on mezzanine behind a shield, playing with the smoke there? Like, you're the go-to entry player for your team. Why is this happening? And he was basically saying, you know, you bring along a Warden for a shield, it's just not really a desirable operator. You already bring along a Frost, so what else do you want to bring along in that case? Alibi? Sure. But the gadget, arguably, on the smoke is much stronger. The FMG is a fantastic gun. You've got the shield, 2-2, so it's not the end of the world. So I think you're going to see more and more of smoke being brought into this kind of position, unless Ubisoft very cruelly take away the FMG.
Paolo's on the rappel, got himself an angle into Library and onto Mezzanine, so Bolo's going to need to be careful about the potential rotates here. He's got Gio supporting him. We've got that triangle that I've spoken about previously. Merc, Bolo, Gio just going to try to hold on to this. Team Liquid need to just remove one of the corners, essentially, and it starts making it a lot easier to get into. And there you go, Paolo finds one. He's going to take Gio down. That's the man inside a Library gone, and it's all up to Bolo and Merc now. If you want 2 out of the 3 left, it's those 2 positions. Library and Mezzanine. Sorry, Library, Stairs and Mezzanine. That's what you're looking for, really, and that's what they've got for the time being.
That's what they want to really clear off here by the looks of it. I mean, you had Parley playing on that south window that just caught Gio on the rotate out. Unfortunate timing, I guess, but was also held by the cross coming in from Nesk. For now, Merc and Bolo completely unmoved. Still both tucked in behind their shields as death rains down all around them. Nades coming flying in from several directions, but on the side of Liquid, yet unable to unseat either of them. Achieved is, again, that kind of loose player in the map that can roam around, do whatever he wants to try and do. Currently holding out towards West Main. If he finds himself an angle here onto someone on the rappel, it would be beautiful, but it's highly unlikely Liquid expose themselves to that window. He'll be the guy that comes back and challenges in towards lobby when Liquid start pushing through, but he's waiting on that call from his team to make it happen, I imagine.
I would have thought so. Bolo just going to get the smoke canister out there. Is not aware that Palu is already in. It is too late to be smoking out that window. Palu's got an opportunity now if he sees this man. If he peeks too far forward, he's going to get him. He's coming in for the man at the top of Library Stairs, though. That's where Paolu's looking. Can he get both of them? Finds the first. Surely the call out goes. And the man drops away off the stairs. No surprise. Achieved on the flank, trying to do something. There's going to be a Frostmat that gets one, but that still leaves us in a 4 versus 2. 40 seconds left to go.
And you're looking at that and thinking, how have you walked into a Frostmat in the door? Well, when you're ADS looking down towards Split, looking for the challenge, you're not looking at your feet. That is blocked out by the gun model, so it's very common that you're going to find yourself walking into these. Remember seeing some stats, actually. Number of Frostmats that get walked into is the highest in diamond level play. So you don't really see it so much at lower ranks because people do look at the floor a lot. At this level, no one does. Reset's bringing it down to a 4 versus 1. This is feeling a lot like round 1 all over again, Tim. An absolute stomp by the side of Liquid. And that's now the downstairs site they've won, and Bar and Gaming.
To be fair, every site that's, every one of the sites that we've seen won so far has been very one-sided, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's been, teams just coming in and dominating within that round. Team Liquid and TSM have both had their moments. It certainly hasn't been, all a landslide in one direction, but Team Liquid are going to be looking to get this last round. Attack on Chalet, they're going to want 4-2. They want to give themselves an advantage going into the second half, and it's pretty much the benchmark that we would expect, really. So it's going to be kitchen and dining again. We saw it back in round 3. We saw TSM able to hold it down. Team Liquid struggled to get inside of the building, really. We saw the top floor being held onto for the longest time. Bolo was able to get a number of kills up there. And Team Liquid, they need to deal with that better this time. Maybe use that throwable utility a little bit more. It was quite late before we saw the flashes coming in, but when they did, it gave them that entry. They got a kill onto Gio. They started to mix things up a little bit, so maybe just getting onto that a little bit sooner.
Call me a cynic, but I'd really like to see Resets get a bit more aggressive playing on the bathroom window. I mentioned that he sat on the rappel last time up to the north end of the balcony and then just looked to hold the angle down onto the library window ready for a run out. And it was like, you're on the Zofia, like, get in there, cause some trouble, raise some hell, press down through bathroom whilst you've got players trying to get in solar and one holding on the double window. Like, your job is to flush TSM southwards, and I'll give full credit to TSM. They pulled back at the right time. They didn't overexpose themselves at any given time. But again, for Resets, more aggression as someone being on the entry. Someone's got to be the spearhead, and so far he's having a pretty good game, set up 5-3. Let's see him take that role in this round.
Going to see the same again here where Palu opens the window and the drone goes straight in. Try and catch out anybody who's playing inside of there. They didn't really manage to get too much out of it last time, apart from locking Geo in place when they were able to push in eventually. Didn't really have room to move because of that double window. But Resets is going to come off it. Palu moves around to continue opening castle barricades. Pretty much the same approach from Liquid as last time, doing all the same things. I dare say Palu's movement was even the same there as to took the window, dropped down, started on to the next, and they need to answer the question to Liquid. The only answer coming is from Merc. Finds a headshot onto Resets, and again, Liquid struggling to get inside the building.
I think TSM have read that super well, because again, he repelled there in the last round. They must have heard it, because Merc was there ready to challenge. Hits a shot in the first place that doesn't kill Resets, but on the second time of asking, gets the headshot, removes the pressure on that balcony. And I said I wanted to see Resets be the real point of entry for them here, because everyone else is kind of hinging on pushing in through Solar, or they're looking at getting in through Trophy, or holding onto the double window. That's a really critical kill for the side of TSM, even though it doesn't look huge in the moment.
PSK going to take some damage there as he tries the peak. Merc is more than ready for it. And as I said last time around, TSM happy to just stand and hold angles and try to just lock this down and not let Liquid inside of the map. PSK, you take one more peek and you are going to be done.
Great teamwork.
Merc happy to get out of the window there, gets himself a kill. Palu does manage to level it out and find the trade for it, but we're still in a 4 versus 3. There's a minute left to go, and TSM have still got players on the top floor.
PSK read like a butt there, because Geo came and challenged him from the library hall window at the same time that Merc went for the jump out. There was no way he lives through that engagement with a bullet to go until death. Really smart play by TSM, adapting to the situation and making use of the map control that they have got. Now into a 4 versus 3. It doesn't feel like an absolutely huge advantage, but they peeled 2 members off that west balcony. On the side of Liquid, they really wanted control of it, but simply couldn't get it.
Nesk, he's crouched, he's ready. He's poised. Can he come up with one of those big moments that we know him for so well? Silhouettes on the opposite side of the wall tell us that TSM are well aware of his position, and they're just going to hold it down. Bolo's going big so far today. Going to finish Palu off with the pistol. Here comes Ask. Manages to put shots, but he's not going to be able to get the kill. Nesk, it's all up to you. 1v4. He finds the first. 1v3. Gets the diffuser, but he needs to get it down. Time's running out. It's Bolo from behind, and Bolo is going absolutely wild in the server so far this morning, and that's going to bring us to 3-3 at the half.
He's 10-3, Tim. He's putting up big numbers, and I think something does feel different about Bolo this tournament. It's not that he hasn't played well in prior ones, but I feel like we've cast them now 4 times, I want to say. Twice in playoffs, twice in groups, and in every single game we've just said, Bolo's going mental. Like, what?
Yeah, he's having a big tournament.
And the thing that's really hard to read, I was speaking to Lycan about this morning, actually. The one thing that is really hard to create a tournament like this is consistency. Look at Furia yesterday. Arguably one of the worst performances we've seen in playoffs from any team in terms of gun capability. I think they had the right idea with strats, but when Hyper's stepping in and turning and like fragging 3 of you without barely lifting a finger, it just wasn't a good day for them. And he said the same. He goes, you know, consistency is hard to create. You know, even being 5% off means that you're 50 milliseconds slower to take your first shot. You lose gunfights in the vast majority of cases on LAN because there's no ping. You're not going to come out on top. And for Bolo to be so consistent across the whole competition so far really speaks volumes about what this side can achieve.
It does, and I think part of the, not the problem with Bolo, it's not a problem at all, but as you say, sometimes we don't always expect to see the, well, we do expect to see the numbers going up from him, but sometimes it feels like he's a little bit quiet, or has been in previous tournaments. But I think he doesn't always necessarily play the roles that you would associate with getting those big numbers.
Oh.
Whereas, you know, this time he really is finding those kills, and it's been great to watch.
I found it really interesting because coming into the competition, they did say they'd changed a bunch of roles around, where Merc is now the IGL, and he stepped across into playing Flex, whilst Bolo is playing Entry. Throughout this competition, he has stepped back into playing that Flex role, while Merc, who was like, what, I think 3rd highest rated joint on Entry, was plus 14 or something ridiculous, then went back onto playing Entry. Today, let's switch things back around. Merc is back onto playing Flex, and Bolo is on the Entry. It feels more like they're happy to flex those roles based on who's really playing well on the day, and you can't complain because so far it's working wonderfully.
Resets is just going to get himself back up the blue stairs there, or at least halfway so. The drone was coming, it was likely to find him, so probably a good move that he gets himself out of dodge. Holding down bar and game in here. Team Liquid don't want to be giving away early picks because it's going to lead to them losing that top floor control. And Reset's getting himself back to site, I think, is a smart move there. Merc is potentially looking for some utility to go in here. I think it's going to be a little bit of a coordinated action, Des. We've got the smoke, we've got the Ying, we've got the Candelas, we've got everything going in here. Out comes a little impact nade, I think that was, to try and prevent. Big kill.
How? How has Mert ran past Ass there? He got past Resets and killed Ass. Sorry, Resets was ignored behind the bar. And in comes Bolo. He's coming up from the backside. Do they even know where Resets is? They've got a lot of work to do in a 2 versus 4. And still so much of the round to play with. There we go. Finally gets the shutdown that they were looking for. Now into a 2 versus 3. They have got control of site, Tim. But clearly not feeling great about stepping up and taking that diffuser and going for a second bash.
Nor would I. I mean, it's a weird situation for TSM here. They've completely got...
Oh, he saw his head!
Nesk just waits it out and just waits for Bolo to overextend, which is exactly what happens, and he gets his kill. And it's a bit of a weird one, really. TSM, they tried something. They got the smokes, they got the Candelas in there, they looked to get the diffuser down. They just couldn't do it. As you say, missing Resets on the bomb chassis was a big one. It meant that he could get a couple of kills just to shut that plant attempt down. Team Liquid not being sort of worried by it, really. Nice and calm, as we'd expect from this team. 4-3.
Not bad, not bad. So, we are getting that matched up Chalet map that we thought we might see. As I mentioned here, how Merc managed to get round past Resets and get onto Ask is a bit of a crazy one, especially when Resets was sat there with a shotgun. I don't think he expected someone to come in full sprint. They were waiting maybe for the Yin Candelas to come out, then he'd go for the swing, but ultimately, not that it matters too much because Liquid still walk away with the win. During that round, Tim, I was looking at a couple of stats. I was curious how Merc's currently sitting on entry. He's now currently plus 18 and tied in first place with Nesk. So you've got the battle of the 2 #1 entries at the competition, both on plus 18. Just underneath him, you've got Pamba, who's sat on plus 17. Nest, though, is the one I'm looking at and thinking, God, those numbers. Second highest rated, 1.33, plus 57 when it comes to KD. Absolutely flying at this competition, and highest on cost, 78%.
I mean, I would like to say for Nesk, I think if you're going to give him one title out of anything in the game, I would have to say, long-term, the most consistent player we will ever see, right? He just goes about his business quietly. It's not all aces, it's not all, 1v4 clutches. He gets them occasionally as well. But he'll come into a tournament and it's like, it's just so expected from him that it almost sort of goes unnoticed. And then you get to a point like this, day 8, you look at the stats and he's second highest rated, and it's, he's always up there without question.
Crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. Well, being up there on the numbers doesn't guarantee you a grand final appearance, nor does it guarantee you a win, or maybe even potentially of winning this game. Bolo is on one so far today. Nesk sat at 6 and 4. So all eyes turn to the other side of the table to see where the top performer is in this game currently. TSM now looking for that first attacking round win. Back in the first half, we ended up at 1-on-1 when we were attacking into Bar and Gaming. That was where TSM found their way into the game. Here, they need to keep things balanced out so we can head towards that wonderful word called overtime. That's the dream.
We'd love to see as much of this matchup as we possibly can, realistically. It's already delivering. It's 4-3. There's been big moves either way. There's blows raining back and forward, and it's just pure siege entertainment. TSM are in round 8, trying to take the top floor. They're going to be attacking onto kitchen and dining, but look at this from Bolo. He's got himself in towards site very, very quickly, looking in to just open that angle up towards dining, see if he can get himself a pick. He does not, and he's going to head to support achieved on the top floor. Ask very nearly gets an opportunity to take the toes off somebody dumping a grenade underneath the castle barricade there, but it just won't quite line up for him.
Giving himself a good chunk of cover with all these castle barricades dotted around as well. The big window really needs someone to get on it and pop it out if TSM want to be assaulting onto the upstairs. Because right now, you've got a shield, you've got Ast, you've got Resets playing up there, Nesk is inside a bedroom. They've got so many members on this top floor, and they're only really being challenged from one direction here, Tim. That makes life a little bit easier for the defenders and might mean TSM struggle, bearing in mind they've only got 60 seconds left.
Chalet looking to get himself onto the bathroom window. Could be a freebie there. He sprays across on a different day. Maybe he catches the head, but not now. Achieved, however, does find a headshot, and that's going to be onto Nesk. Big player taken down, and 5 versus 4. 50 seconds left to go, and TSM, they're not doing badly. They've got themselves a second kill. They need to start thinking about Sight. The third kill comes in. Sight's going to be irrelevant at this point, as they really are just chewing their way through Team Liquid here in round 8, looking to level things up at 4-4. 4-4. They can start opening up those verticals, and it's all down to PSK and Palu on site.
Looking a bit dicey, yeah, really big for TSM to get those 3 kills on the top floor because Liquid had played it perfectly up to that point, wasted tons of time, kept them at bay, kept them guessing with the double castle barricade coming in, 1 big window, 1 on the single doorway. Just meant it was too much for TSM to deal with, but in a 5 versus 2, surely they close this one out. Palu being challenged, finds one inside a trophy, a great little shot coming out from PSK though, as the 2 double up together. Clock's about to hit 0, it's time to go, it's now or never. Achieve finding 1 more, a 4 versus 1, and Palu could play spoiler here. There we go, they get the kill in the end, but it literally came down to the very final second, Tim.
I think we're seeing exactly how this game is going to continue for the rest of it. 4-4, and no advantage can really be found by either of these 2 teams at the minute, despite how hard they are looking for it. Round number 9, it's going to be, and we're heading down to that basement once again. It's going to be Wine and Snowmobile. Can TSM attack this as well as Team Liquid did? Team Liquid, very capable on that rear-sided push, opening trench wall, getting in, holding the cover, even getting a plant down. They played it fantastically. TSM, they're going to have to show some real mastery of the site if they want to take this off Team Liquid.
They are. And equally, we're going to have to see, 1, the attacking side be strong, but also the defensive side. Obviously, it's considered probably a bit easier to be on the defending side here. You know where your setup's got to go. Not so much for the site itself. The map overall has a bit of an attacker lean, or what we saw at least in Stage 3 across the world. I think here at SI, it's been a defender-sided map though, Tim. Bank and Coastline have been the only 2 attacker-leaning maps that we have seen, despite what many would consider us being in an attacker-leaning meta.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see if that continues, Des. Let's see how TSM can do on the attack here. Let's see whether they can break through that Team Liquid defense. Resets are just going to put a Banshee inside of the main door there. Looking that they don't want anybody just pushing in quickly and getting themselves down main stairs, causing a nuisance. We've got mute jammers on both walls. Won't necessarily prevent them being opened. We've got multiple hard breaches. We've got Merc on the Twitch as well, so there's going to be plenty of options. But interestingly, TSM going straight towards that front wall, which is something that Team Liquid pretty much ignored, really. I imagine we're going to see the nade go in. PSK is just looking to reapply the electrical potentially. He's just waiting to see what happens. The Selma charge hasn't been detonated as of yet because the mute jammer is still in place, and it looks like TSM have largely cleared out from trying to open that up.
Just completely rotated off. Yeah, maybe identified that with the Kaid there, with the jammer on it, you could see how hard Liquid really wanted to force it to be locked down. So, a total change of plan, moving themselves down here towards library side and looking to push down into lobby, most likely. Probably also want to get control of the library stairs and force their way down through blue, push down through lobby. It's a bit of a different take, really, because normally to go in through lobby, you do want that front side opened up, and they may have found it here. I think, Tim, as we can hear the sound was ringing out. That may end up being onto Mez trying to force away Ask, who does indeed get caught out by Merc.
I love that we're just seeing a completely different approach here from TSM. It's always nice to see how things can be done differently. There's always an option in Siege. There's always a plan B, a plan C. Right now, I think Liquid are just about finding plan C as they're getting themselves back to the site after the first couple of options haven't really worked. They tried to keep the front wall closed, which, is it still closed? I think it's still
it's still muted.
So you've still got that closed, but they've tried to just contest out in the map. It's got to the halfway mark, and they've said, nope, that's enough for now, and they're going to get themselves back. But Resets, he starts to wriggle his way back upstairs. Now then, if TSM don't have flank drones in place here, and could be forgiven, there's all 5 of them at the minute still alive, this could be an absolute freebie for Resets.
I mean, they've got no one dead, so no one's going to be sat on flank drone at the minute. Like, Geo's droning in. Oh, I tell you what, this is timing. This timing. Geo has just put a flank drone right in front of him inside of the bush on the other side. That is criminally unlucky for Resets. If he was any like 2 or 3 seconds faster, he maybe gets on Mez there and kills 2 or 3 people. But it's been a great little shutout, and there you go. Charles seen it, does get the drone taken out, and now he knows he's got to pull back. But elsewhere, you got TSM picking up the pressure a little bit here. Bolo finding another 13 and 4 across 9 rounds so far. Tim achieved traded back the other side. Charlotte, the birthday boy, finds one more for himself into a 2 versus 4. That's his age in case you missed it. PSK 1 back, and a 3 versus 1 sets in. This surely can't be clutched out by Palu, finding himself in a similar spot to where Charla was just back in the first half. As you can see, the red ping's coming in. They know that TSM have got control of the other side. They could look to go for a plant here, but it feels like they really want to try and find the kills. Tim, Geo just trying to get rid of that gadgetry. Job done. Parlo could just spray the soft wall here as well. In comes one. That's a really risky challenge to come out. They've got to win it. Gio does it. If he died there and the diffuser went down, that could have been the round going against TSM. But no, they find themselves another and move to 5.
They've already won. Go and try and get that one held down again. TSM, they'll be looking for top floor control. They struggled a little bit last time, I think. They were losing kills around the map, and Team Liquid were able to lock it down. If you remember, we had that Ying attempt as well. They couldn't really, it was sort of halfway through the round. They'd not managed to get any kills on the top floor, and we just had Merc on the window, right, smoking Ying, let's go in. And that was the play from TSM, and I don't think it's going to be repeated this time. I mean, mainly because there's no Ying on the board, but I don't think they're going to go for that sort of aggression. They're going to go for a more structured, right, let's get a top floor, let's move everybody out, and let's then push on to side.
Absolutely. All right, then. Usual hold we're used to seeing up here. Now you're going to find someone sat on Mez with a shield. You are going to find someone sat over on Library Stairs without a shield, as we are missing one. I think it will go on Mez, because that's a little bit high. In fact, no, okay, it's on Library, fair enough. I was going to say Mez, you can tuck in against the reinforced wall if you want to, but the problem then is you can't step out towards the right, because otherwise you get challenged immediately from the Library hallway window. So this should mean nades could fly in a bit more freely if they can burn through those 2 ADSs, because you have a pretty good guess at where the player is going to be stood. You know it's going to be against the reinforcement. The guy on Library Stairs here will mean that they have that two-way setup we are very used to seeing come through on this site. And imagine like we had from Achieved on this site back when TSM were defending, you'll have one player from Liquid getting out on the roam, and this here is Parlu. A couple of holes opened up in towards that front lobby, with one wall being reinforced off, means that he has a sight line through. Anyone steps in through that doorway, they are going to be challenged pretty much immediately by him.
Bolo is going to pressure onto Piano, and that starts the top floor clearance. I would expect to see TSM try to get in on the Master Piano side then, sweep across, open up the office wall, and start picking apart the defence. For the time being, Achieved is on Library.
Merc shock drone, if he gets through the ADSs here, this could be absolutely lethal. Sees one, gets the other one as well. Oh, they're all being stripped away. Now that means nades can sing in freely, so PSK has now got a choice. He can sit and hold. Sure, he's got some magnets out and about as well, but they could look to burn through this potentially if they're not careful. They've gone through the 3 flashes already, and there's still a couple of magnets scattered around. So maybe actually they haven't brought enough utility to go for a full clear. They're relying very heavily on the shock drone to get the job done, but once it's cleared out, those nades will get singing.
Nesk should still be in a position here to potentially remove those Hibana pellets, and that's exactly what he's going to do, and that's why these two positions are so critical to each other. Just really help to hold those locked down. Nesk, he's facing real challenges here as the shield has been cleared off from in front of him. Bolo opens things up with a nade onto Parlu. It's all starting to fall apart. There's Team Liquid struggling here on the top floor. That's going to be PSK gone. Mez cleared out, and now Nesk is in a perilous position, doing what Nesk does best. He gets aggressive. He goes forward, and he finds himself one. Can't find two as he runs into Bolo, who is just absolutely red hot right now and cannot be stopped. It's a 4 versus 2 with a minute left to go. TSM have got all the time in the world here to build the latter stages of this attack.
16 and 5, Tim. 16 and 5. Bolo's going absolutely mental in this game so far, and no one's really coming close to matching him. On the other side is Parlu on 9 kills. That's almost half of what Bolo has found so far. And I know it's keeping the score incredibly close, which is a bit of a credit to the side of Liquid, that Bolo can be this dominant and they can still fight their way back in, but it's looking dicey. Ask under a lot of hot pressure. Another 4 versus 1 for TSM. And guess who's left alive? It's Resets. Not Parlu this time around, and he can do nothing. TSM with another shutout. No timeout available for Liquid. This is looking like it's going to be a TSM map, Tim.
It's cruising towards them winning their map choice. That much is for sure. 6-4 now, map point, and the opportunity to close it out. Even Team Liquid's one site that they've got a win on so far, Bar, is failing them. They weren't able to lock it down, and they're going to switch it up and go to Kitchen. They tried it in round 8. TSM, guess what? They won it. They've won every single site on the map now that Team Liquid have tried to defend. There is no stronghold for the Brazilians.
It's hard coming up against an attacking team at the minute. I know what I said about the defender-sided lean, attacker-sided lean, whatever. The one thing that can't be taken away is the strength at the minute of a couple of things in the game. One is the nade-based play, of which we have seen tons of here at SI. Vertical nades, really doing a lot of hard yards. On the other side of things, it's the attacker guns themselves. Iana, super strong entry, 2 or 3 shots to the body and you get the kill. What have you got to make that even easier? You've got the nades first to soften them up, and second, you've got a thinker on side to juice you up and keep you going in. So you're walking in like a massive tank, essentially, stepping forward, all juiced up. You take a gunfight, you go down to about half HP, unless they hit a headshot on you, because their P shooters are nothing compared to your ARX, and you march your way through. It's a similar story, even with Bolo running around here on the thinker without the Iana. Just across the board, they're always going to win out on these gunfights, and it is so hard to contest. Liquid right now, not able to find anything against the side of TSM for 3 rounds in a row, and that's why we're saying we think this one likely is going to see us going all the way through to a TSM win.
I would have thought so, and then Liquid are going to have to find themselves something on bank. Are they going to be dropping out to that lower bracket quicker than they might have wanted? I think there's a twist in this tail before it's done. I can't see Liquid.
I hope so.
I very much cannot see Liquid going out of this 2-0 and dropping into the lower bracket, to be honest. They've been very good so far. They played well today. They're just struggling on the defense, which is sort of to be expected on Chalet, really. TSM's map pick. The attackers generally do have a favour here. I don't think it's panic stations for Team Liquid yet. You just need to, you know, they need to make sure that they control the mental game. Particularly, they've got 2 new players, Ask and Resets. You know, they need to be making sure that they're managing that Ask and Resets aren't panicking a bit and thinking, you know, like, God, we're going to go out here. They need to make sure that, you know, they understand that sort of full process and that it's not anything to worry about just as of yet. PSK, he's going to open things up with the kill onto Bolo. Could not have found a better one, Des.
No, dreamy start for them as well, given, again, 17 kills to the guy's name so far throughout the series. He is the man that you want out of this round, because now the attention turns onto the other 4. And they may well relish that, Tim. They might turn around and say, finally, we can get on the board, we can pick up some kills, because Bolo has been taking them all for himself. However, we've seen what Merc can do on the entry. We know that Achieved has got it inside him as well. We know that Chalet has had some big games throughout the competition so far. Gio, arguably the quietest member, but still not playing badly by any stretch of the imagination. So still far from over.
3 ahead of them here for TSM as they try to sweep across the top floor, looking for those opening kills for themselves. They're 1 down and they need to get a couple. Not going to be easy from here though, as Liquid have dug themselves in deep. They've got utility to play behind. Whoa, beautiful shot from Merc though. Resets. He manages to pop up like a jack in the box and take down the trade. That's going to be Merc gone 4 versus 3, but it was an absolute beauty from the Jackal before he was taken down. Chalet trying to move through. They've got the wall open. It's getting aggressive, but Bulletproof Camera is going to feed that information through to Nesk and Resets.
They are slowly forcing them back here, Tim. It's the same as last time round. The big difference being TSM found 3 kills on the push of the top floor last time they attacked this site. Liquid finding nothing in response, but in this round, it's 2-1 in favour of Liquid. So a much better defence and going the way that they would have hoped. Ask losing out to a pretty nasty shot coming out from Merc, but you're forgiven for that one. And like that, everything's gone wrong. 2 members from TSM hit the deck. Resets find himself a multi-kill in the round, and Liquid at least bring us closer to overtime, Tim. They've got themselves up to 5 and 6 now. 1 more round at least will guarantee we see ourselves through to overtime, and then heaven knows what happens.
Well, it feels like it's a big enough match now, Des, to start trotting some lines out, and we are going to see all 12 in regulation. Team Liquid fighting back here, fighting hard. They have got their nails dug in to the side of the cliff face that they find themselves hanging off at the minute, and they are going absolutely nowhere. TSM trying to just knock them off there and get themselves that map win. It's not going to be easy for them if this goes to overtime. Team Liquid are certainly a team that knows how to win, and it's TSM that might just be on the receiving end of that if this continues. That's the breaks that they needed. TSM were just getting a bit of a head of steam behind them there. They were starting to chug along, and Team Liquid needed to put a stop to that quickly.
And they just took the engine off the tracks.
Yeah, before it got out of hand, basically, they needed to stop it.
And they took the engine off the tracks in the form of Bolo as well. Again, he's the man. I don't want to put it all on one guy, but he's been hitting his shots all game long. That's why he's currently sat on 17 kills. That's why he's putting in the hard yards for his team. And when he's not on the board, they simply do not find the kills.
The problem is, and it's not a problem for players at this level, but it does happen. You'll see, I did, not on this level, but I did a little bit of scrimming recently.
Here we go.
I was playing on the hard support, and when you play hard support in a competitive environment, you don't see many gunfights. It's not like playing hard support in ranked, where you still see them every round. I could easily go 3 or 4 rounds without one, and believe me, it takes its toll. When you find yourself in round 5, round 6, not having really had a shot at anybody, and all of a sudden you're in a gunfight, 1v2 at the end of the round, it can have an impact. And, you know, with Bolo picking up so many kills, it will potentially have an impact on the others, because round to round, they may not actually be seeing very many people, particularly Gio. You know, he may not actually be functioning in that way for a lot of this game. And so it can be very, very difficult to manage that.
Insights from Tim Scrim team.
It's just you know, the experience that I've had of playing 4 or 5 rounds without seeing somebody. It can be tough, and we can't underestimate that. And TSM, they need to make sure that if Bolo does get taken out, you know, I'm not saying they're a one-man team, but they've got to be ready for those fights in his stead. Chalet Merc had some great kills. Achieved has been in there as well, but just maybe not as much action as they might have liked.
Absolutely not. We've seen this hole, well, this sort of hole coming up before Tim, and that nade coming in from below is just cleared away. All the gadgets that were scattered around PSK, I'm pretty sure he had a jammer set up there as well, which has also been cleared away. Still has 2 discs covering him out here. You can hear the drones coming through, so he knows that they've got eyes on him at this point. Think back to the first half when Liquid were on attack and Palu got inside a library and tore Bolo's head off once he got into a key position. A little bit more attentive on the side of Liquid so far, despite all the pressure that's coming in, and it feels like TSM still looking for a way in.
Nesk is one of the few players that will stay on those stairs once that shield is gone, if you've noticed. He just does not care. He will just keep pushing forward. He's got Palu supporting him at the minute, but we saw it last time around as well. He was more than happy to keep progressing forward, and it's just the confidence of the man. He knows that there's gunfights ahead of him, and he knows that he can win them, so he's quite happy to keep peaking. Bolo's going to get himself in.
Oh!
What did I say, Des? What did I say? Nesk does not care whether there is a shield there or not. He will still stick his face into that breach because he knows and is confident that he can win them. Bolo taken down. Chalet with him as well. Achieved on low health. This is going to be tough for TSM from here.
I'll give it to Bolo, though. Something had to happen in this round because they were very much stuck and nothing was happening despite getting rid of shields, despite clearing off Mez. The players didn't move away, so that's when you have to take advantage and make something happen. But the only one taking advantage in this round is Nesk. He's on to a quad kill and maybe even looking towards an ace here, as Gio is the only one left standing, pushing in on towards Mud, and Nesk racing down to greet him, ready for him to come pushing in. But Gio has already rotated away at this point. He might have his ace taken away from him, but one thing that shan't be removed, Tim, is the threat of overtime. It's well on its way, finding 1, finding 2, but it's already a bit too late. Could try and go for the plant, but the hatch being held by Palu. We're going all the way to their rounds, and you know, he has to be the entry player for the team. I mentioned that they'd done all the hard work. They got library stairs cleared out. They've managed to blow up all the gadgetry that was scattered around Mez, and the players didn't move. Nesk stayed put. PSK stayed put. They didn't seem rattled or particularly phased, not fearing any more nades coming singing on through. And ultimately, they reaped the dividends of that. Big 4K coming out for Nesk in the round. In we go then to overtime with TSM continuing on the attack. This could get a bit scary, Tim.
It certainly could do. It's not going to be easy for Liquid, but having had those 2 defensive rounds in round 11 and 12 is going to do them the world of good, because they can now try to rinse and repeat effectively. They're going to go back to Kitchen, which was the first defensive site they won back in round 11. If they shut this down, they'll try Bar and Gaming again. Can't necessarily rely on a 4K from Nesk. We say you can't always rely on those hero players, but with Nesk on side, you feel like you can rely on them just a little bit more.
Now, last time around on this site, not so much in the round a couple of rounds ago in round 11, it was the prior one. They had both of these doors, well, the double window and the single doorway going through in towards Piano, completely castle barricaded off. That's how the full observers are now going to show. They were left closed. In round 11, TSM did open them both up, which forced Liquid back a little bit quicker. It didn't stop them getting the kills they were looking for, but at least TSM have adapted to this and gone, you know what, we do really need that double window control if we're going to force them back, cut the rotate off, and all shove them towards Solarian. So here they've already clocked it very early on. They've blown it out from distance, and now they're looking in towards finding what pressure they can. And again, the kind of tug of war around this top floor, this control of the front line begins with Liquid starting things up towards Office and Piano.
Bolo moving in underneath, likely spotted out on the cam just before he shoots it out, so they're going to know his position here, Team Liquid at least. Merc trying to push in and trying to get something going from that library side. TSM have got themselves well established inside of the map now. This is pretty much what we saw last time from them when they were attacking onto Kitchen, but they just really weren't able to drive Team Liquid far enough back, and they ended up losing a couple of men whilst trying to push across that top floor, and it really did cost them in the end. So let's see if they can work that clearance any better. I think the utility utility clearance is going to be particularly important for them. We hear the ADSs just taking down some of those throwables whilst they try to clear the shield out to force resets deep.
There comes the nade as well. Not quite getting the shield as well. I thought surely it was fine. It tagged the man, but not the shield. Wild.
That's a
now
problem.
resets. It is a massive problem, Tim. They can sit and hold. I mean, not the biggest of problems, but it's about to be, because they've only got one nade left. They've still got 3 flashes they can burn through if they want to get rid of any of the ADSs that are still around, for example, but I won't be too fearful. Look at this. They've still got this deadlock set down. I mentioned this front line that gets established. TSM, once again, have just found themselves ground to a halt, and they've had 2 minutes to play with, Tim.
Yep, looking good for Team Liquid at the minute. 2 minutes, not really been moved. Resets finally.
Don't tell me.
Was that the nade?
Don't tell me that was the frag. That was the frag. That must have... How? Like... Oh, boys. That's rough.
Resets is still going to be forced out, so it's not the end of the world. Everybody's going to drop back to site now. The call has obviously come from Liquid, dropping back to Trophy. Palu goes underneath into basement for a potential flank. It gives top floor control to TSM with about 35 seconds left to go, realistically, if we're looking at working time. Bolo just conscious of the potential for somebody to push back up Trophy stairs, but it's still 5 versus 5, and TSM, they're going to have to start finding kills. Liquid just trying to play some sneaky plays there.
Oh.
They're going to get caught out as Achieve manages to find resets as he tries to drop down the hatch. That's going to be our opener, but with 15 seconds left to go, TSM, they're not established in sight yet. There's so much work for them to do. They're trying to bring the diffuser down now. It's just going to be a drop and hope for the best. Achieve finds PSK. TSM might just come out on top of this. Bolo gets one, asking a big position. 1v4, and it's surely going to be TSM with the man advantage, managing to close it out.
Very dicey in the last few seconds. Part of me really wanted Ask to just hold on there. He did swing expecting to see a plant going down. There was no plant. You didn't hear the beep of the diffuser. Found the man standing in the doorway, took the firefight, and TSM laser focused and reacted incredibly quickly to his challenge coming in. Otherwise, he could have potentially completely shut that round down, Tim. But overtime is what we asked for. Overtime is what we got. 7-6. TSM, 1 round away from walking away the winners. Kitchen and Dining, we're going to see yet again. That's 3 times across 4 rounds we've seen this site played, Tim.
TSM played it twice back in their defensive half, Des. They won it both times, so it's no surprise that they're going to try and lock it down for a third. Team Liquid going to need to have better answers than they did last time around. Unable to really get established on the top floor, I think, was part of the problem for them. TSM did a great job of that in the last round. 40 seconds left to go. You really thought that they'd sort of burnt the chances, that it was just going to be too late in the round, but Team Liquid just looked a little bit scared to try and hold on to site. They'd all dropped away from site, and TSM were able to just find that space that they needed to get in there and have a sort of diffuser attempt, but not really need it because they just found the kills.
I think quite critically in that last round, the work wasn't being done by Bolo as well. That's where the difference maker came in. Achieve found a big entry. Bolo did get 1 kill in the fray of things, but really it was Chalet getting involved. Achieve was in there. You know, they were the names you were seeing up on the kill feed, which to me is significant because without Bolo, as we've seen, they lost a number of rounds that brought us through to overtime. They lost 2 in a row, in fact, when he was the opening death. He wasn't the opening death. Him just being alive is enough for the rest of the team to get kills, it feels like. There, when you've got that numbers advantage, you can just chain things through together. And this is what we saw coming out of TSM in the last round as well. Blowing out the window, but then struggling to force the defenders back further. Imagine TSM probably won't hold to this top floor as devoutly because they've only got a couple of shields in back pocket. One of those, which I imagine, probably not going to be positioned too far forwards, as we saw coming out of Team Liquid.
Oh, he's just taking his long shot onto the door there. Not going to find anybody, but certainly going to be a warning to stop poking your head out. Merc, he's looking, surely not, he's looking for the reverse angle with a UMP, Des. He tries to take a shot at Palu, who I think is reasonably confident in staying in that position, but he will drop away. He's going to look to get up to the map face. He doesn't want to stay so far away for so long. We're a minute into the round. His team are going to need support. Nesk is holding down Trophy window for the time being, looking for any potential rotation to come through as they move down Trophy stairs. But right now, there's no reason for TSM to move, and certainly not in that direction as Liquid, they're holding down the complete north side.
Yeah, see the difference in how things have gone? Like, Liquid have identified, okay, they're doing a similar thing to what we did. Let's go and push Solar and cut off the way they'd retreat. The problem is here, TSM have got the shields facing northward as well. They're prepared and ready to play behind them as and when. Bolo currently forgetting that shields exist. It seems as he is trying to push forward really aggressively in front of it. Really what I think Liquid want here is someone on the south side to come and do some work, but that is a lot of map to clear in a very short amount of time. Palu going to find himself getting up on the double window here, ready to blow this one out. If someone's there, they're going to be dead, and sure enough, it's Merc. PSK finding the opener.
big for Team Liquid. They can start to ride that advantage if possible, but Bolo, that man once again, manages to find a kill onto Ask. That's 19. He could be on for a 20-plus game here, and he really has been phenomenal. Nest holding down that trophy window still. I'm not sure about this, Des. He's been on that angle for 2 minutes. Not really where you want your talisman player. He needs to be in there getting kills for Team Liquid. Right now, they're not even inside of the map. There's 50 seconds left to go. TSM are looking solid 4v4.
Absolutely. Okay, then let's see what they can do. It's in the spot where it's a bit ropey here in the last 40 seconds or so. In comes the pushes on the shield, but he finds Charl around the side. A trade back elsewhere, 3 versus 3. Bolo hits the 20 that he was looking for. Palu's left all alone. TSM have done it as Bolo hits 21 kills. They take map number